Alright, this is David Richards, class 210, Introduction to Social Work, homework assignment, chapters 3 and 4. First question says, talk about and explain the 4 methods of social work. Which one could you see yourself and why? Well, there's 4 of them. There's coursework, group work, community organization, and integrated generalist method. And coursework is just direct work with the individual. It's just a one-on-one interaction, like even individuals with a family or a small group. Group work is group interactions that can change or grow a group of people. So that can be small groups or even a whole just household, and even larger stuff like that. Community organization is a very large method for changing a community or growing a community, and helping out with them. And that's more along the lines with just neighborhoods, mine is. And then integrated generalist method is unifying all the 3, casework, group work, and community organization, and just on a larger, more scale out to help and grow and just change. The one I could see myself in and why is the casework, and I'm more of an individual person, getting down with the individual people and giving them advice, counseling methods go very well with me, and like they said, it's the most predominant method, and that's what I could do, is casework with a lot of people. Number 2 says, what is a social system? Name a social system of which you are a part. Name a subsystem of that social system. An organized social system is just an organized whole that interacts with other entities over a long period of time, or just really a period of time. A social system, which I'm a part of, is, for example, Campbellsville University is a social system, and a subsystem of that would be like sophomores, or like certain classes. So like, I'm a sophomore, I'm part of that subsystem of Campbellsville, the system. And another example could be like the Richards family. Richards family is a system, and the environment, and then a subsystem would be me as a part of the member of the Richards family. So it keeps on going down, and there's many different how you could elaborate systems and stuff of social work or social. Number 3, what is micro-level intervention? Give an example. Micro-level is just working with individuals, families, or even small groups. It's the lowest scale of social work. It's to help make changes in behavior or relationships. An example of this, let me see my notes real quick. Example of one how one might do this is working with domestic violence within a family. Say, for example, you have the little Sally Sue, who was domestically she was abused by her father, and just working with Sally, and working with the father and proving justice to him, and working with Sally is a way to that's micro level. It's the smallest form. It starts within the family, or it starts within a small group of people, and the individual itself, Sally, working with Sally, is a micro level of social work. And then it keeps on going up to meso and the macro. It says, explain the difference between the following agency classifications and give one example of each. And just go through public and privates first. Private is just it's open to just a few amount of people, just a select few. That would be like an example of that is family opportunities. An organization that's privately run. Public is open to all. It's open to a large group of people, which is like the Social Security Administration. That's open to all the people of the United States, receiving some kind of security for their social welfare benefits to like the elderly people, disabled people, all that. So that's a public agency. Sectarian and non-sectarian. Sectarian is just a religious-based agency, organization, and non-sectarian is not a religious-based agency or organization. Like example of sectarian is like the food pantry. That is religion-based and just giving out the food to other people in the community. Non-sectarian is clinical social work services, which still helps the community and still runs to provide clinical services, but it is a non-sectarian. It does not follow up on a religion-based belief system. Primary and host. Primary offers just a social service. It's a primary service to people. An example of this is resource and referral. Their primary service is to do social service. A host is kind of like a primary, but it adds other services to it. So it offers a social service, but along with an organization or organizational service. A lot of times it's maybe a social service working in schools. You have a social agency work with the schools to other kids, and that would be a primary, not primary, but that would be an example of a host. Next is a for-profit and not-for-profit or non-profit. For-profit, just the definition of that, it's service. They provide service, but in exchange for money, in exchange to lead up to profit from their service. And that can be a lot of things. That's like local hospitals can do this. The Social Security Administration, government agencies, those are profit agencies. But like nonprofit is to do the service instead of the profit. Instead of receiving the money, instead of advancing with money options, they get more of donations from other people and funding from other people. And that is examples as like Habitat for Humanity, AARP, stuff like that. They receive money from other organizations. Number 5, it just goes on to saying if you were agency director and just certain funding that I would utilize. Getting funding that I would utilize would be state and federal funding. AIDS and maybe even some privately funded organizations like donations more if I was utilizing just funding from other people, but mostly state and federal. There are some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is that state and federal are very consistent. They're very reliable, it seems, and they do a good amount at first to get you going. But there are a lot of disadvantages as well to borrowing money from the state and federal. That can go with taxes, limiting government limiting your resources, major cutbacks on your grants or scholarships for this program. So yeah, there's just a ton of them. But yeah, state and federal aid, if I was agency director, would be the one I would take. Yes, well, that is it for chapters 3 and 4 of what I have. Pretty sure I got through all of it. This is David Richards signing off. Thanks, Dr. Hansford.